I think the following is, I pretty much offer the floor to anyone who likes to ask questions. And I do have some general questions to get started with the one first. I'd like to ask Grant, this morning Grant already gave a good presentation about Xprize. In case you haven't heard of it, before we get very quick the second side of things.
Sure. So I think for those of you who weren't in the presentation today, I think the Xprize Foundation is excited to provide somewhat of a catalyst for innovation as it relates to the use of these sensors and biosensors and wireless technologies so that we can provide clear-cut objectives of what it is we expect teams to do. And we're really agnostic as to the approach each team takes when it comes to assembling technologies for the purposes of the competition. So within this model, we're creating kind of an open system of innovation so that what we end up seeing at the end of this process is technologies that actually are able to deliver upon the objectives of the competition, which are pretty, audacious, and that's part of the theme of the Xprize. They're audacious yet achievable. So when you consider the fact that these technologies actually have to be able to identify 15 distinct conditions to monitor 5 vital signs continuously is a pretty significant undertaking. So I applaud these teams and the 4 who aren't here for taking up this challenge and really putting together a lot of resources for this specific objective.
Great, thank you, Grant. A couple questions for Rick actually. In reality is first, why Qualcomm Foundation's interested in sponsoring this Xprize, and where does Qualcomm Life as a different organization see how this emerging opportunity will help?
Okay. So can everyone hear me okay here? So first of all, why Qualcomm? Why did we decide to get involved in the prize? What happened was that Paul Jacobs, the CEO at the time, and currently our chairman, was being interviewed by Kara Swisher of NGAG back then, now Rico. And he was sort of thinking out loud about what the next technology out of Star Trek should come to life. And he said it should be the tricorder. And lo and behold, within a couple of weeks, he got a call from Peter Diamandis, who's the CEO of the Xprize, and he happened to have the exact same inspiration. And the two of them worked together for several months thereafter, and we agreed to help sponsor the Xprize. And it comes from more than a decade of efforts on Qualcomm's behalf to promote the idea of bringing wireless technology into healthcare. Wireless technology for the mobile network is the world's largest platform, the largest platform that man has ever built. Virtually everybody has a phone. More people have a phone and have access to running water or electrical grid. And we believe that that platform can be used to help both reduce the cost of care and also expand access to care around the world. And we also believe that it won't be too long that you'll use your phone to receive care, to take care of diagnostics, to even manage therapeutics. And you'll use it in the same way that you use the phone for a number of other things that you just forgot to use to have separate devices or services or people helping you with. It will just become a part of the way that you receive your care.
Any question? If you want to ask questions, probably we have a mic in the middle. We are happy to use it. So, because we are recording, so it's easier to give a mic so everybody can hear. And in between, I actually have a question. I have a specific question myself. I'm looking for a solution for years. we know the hospital concept is changing. It's not physical, brick and mortar. It's actually go outside all the way to your room. I guess that's what the mobile health is coming in. I'll be interested from your perspective, how your technology can reach out to the patient outside the hospital. At the same time, make them feel that they are actually taking care of their health. They are responsible for their health. And what sort of technology so unique about your company? Anyone that welcome to shout or using the mic if you want to again, these are all the questions. I've been interested to see your response. It's a problem we're facing every day in hospitals. Yeah, go ahead.
I think go first.
It's too short.
It's not working. It works sometimes, but it goes on and on.
You got one and all? Get closer.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question about the timing and where it all comes together. I see three markets. I think markets are always very important. That's what drives technology. The one that you mentioned, the hospital-based market, telemetry has been sneaking into hospitals over the last 5 or 6 years, and Wi-Fi infrastructures are becoming a lot more robust. I mean, certainly here in the States and right across Europe, Wi-Fi technologies just about got to a stage with its protocols, its power efficiencies, its coverage to be acceptable, where clinicians will more or less, put up with the issues associated with Wi-Fi. So I think that's important. That's coming to the hospital side. I think smarter processing on board, the algorithms that are required in this area. I think we used to tinker with algorithms, but algorithms are now starting to make some very important decisions, and as those we know how to make those algorithms a lot more robust, and we use bigger data sets to justify their credibility. I think that starts to add in a lot of smartness into the technology that helps make the decision. The second market then that will pull is this connected health into the home market. And that's a lot more challenging because you're working in more unstable environments. You're also entrusting the user, the patient, to use the technology intuitively. So the smartphone starts to bring in answers there, and I think that's where you start to see the drive. You see this powerful computer, effectively, that you have in your hand that can be used intuitively to put up very smart algorithms to get back feedback, usually on productivity or any deterioration in healthcare conditions. We always have a warning in there that you have to see a clinician, but at least that's a good start. And empowers, very importantly, reduces anxiety. I think that aspect of the market is that. And then the third market area that I see that hasn't really gone places yet is the developing world and getting technology into rural developing countries. And I think there's some of the technology described, particularly in the Xprize, that makes it very suitable for that. I mean, it's a challenging list that they've set us. Undoubtedly, we're all quite concerned about the size of our list. And I think if we put it all together, I think there will be low-hanging fruit that will come out of that will immediately go into applications such as the developing world. So it's a lot of that coming together. Good wireless infrastructure, good computational power. The phones that now work, the smartphones and the infrastructures that actually do really work and they're there. I mean, we're challenged to get devices working in hospitals that have to work instantly, they can never fail. So it's that robustness, I think, that we've now got more or less in many areas that allows us to become a success.
Thank you. Any contestant want to?
Yeah, so, like in India, American academics, we've been working with major hospital chains. And the first thing which we have to probably agree is, if you may not like it, the point is hospital also wants to make money. So the first thing is you must incentivize the hospital. Because we serve both the retail market and via hospital chains. The first thing is that we are a hospital. You have to say to those, the chairman, the CEO, or who runs the hospital, that a patient comes to you, you give us this gadget. This gadget will talk to our cloud, which will then interface with the hospital's KMS, on which you can then data mine and see the patient trends. And since this gadget is talked to your hospital, you will probably come back again for an additional consultation. So the idea is to first tie up with hospital, then go to their HMSS hospital management system. Every hospital has a backend database. On which they show patient records and so many stuff. Idea is to take your cloud solution, patch it with their hospital backend, and tie this product as a accessory given by the hospital when a patient gets discharged. So that hospital continuously keeps monitoring the patient, and if and when required, he'll come back to your same hospital again. So the first thing is, yes, obviously it has to pass CE marking, has to get FDA approval, has to be very robust, that's like given. But most importantly, you must incentivize the hospital that you say that we are all partners. You can also make money by shipping this to your patients. So patient benefits, you benefit, I benefit, so something like that.
Hi. We kind of take a different tact, only because our experience is that marketing, as a small company, marketing hospitals is very challenging. So we've identified a different niche, which I think is not been discussed yet, and that's more the self-care niche, more the idea of empowering people, families, to use these new cloud-based tools and to use smartphones and tablets, not just to know more about their health and know more about what's going on, because sometimes knowledge is almost paralyzing, but more to keep tabs on each other. And when we speak to potential markets and potential customers and distribution channels and so on about the concept of aging in place and the concept of trying to keep as people get older, trying to keep people healthy and to allow them to stay in their homes as long as possible, that concept really resonates. And it resonates, I think, for 3 reasons. The first reason is that all of us, of course, have elderly relatives who we hope stay healthy as long as possible, and we obviously want to watch them be comfortable and be safe in their own home. That's the first reason. The second reason is that the cost of long-term care and nursing home care is enormous and only going to go up. So there's a tremendous economic burden, and being able to stay in your own home as long as possible reduces that burden. But for me personally, what really resonates is the fact that I want to get old one day. And when I get old, I want to be pampered by technology. I want my house to take care of me. I want it to know everything about me, and I want it to keep me safe as long as possible. So what I'm motivated to do with the technology that we're embracing today is I'm motivated to create a world that I want to go with.
So our company actually starts from consumer. So we've done like now 15 states surveys in America asking people what they would like to have from a tricorder device. And it is very easy. The trend is very easy. They want that kind of social progress, that kind of barrier to entry fallen down. They want that hospital, the therapy of not the therapeutic part of the hospital, but the diagnostic part of the hospital. They want that in their smartphone because they are no longer actually at home. They are nomadic. They are on the road, and their smartphone has become the remote control of their lives. They also want to have the remote control of their health. Now, if you look at the diagnostic part of a hospital, there's only 4 real estate rooms in every hospital in the world that are important. So you normally, if you end up in the ER, that's the first room you go into. That room is actually governed by electricity. So basically, they hook you up for vital signs of electricity in your body, and all that electricity is measured. It is not many-to-many mapping, but one-to-many mapping. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. Then the second room is the room where they do your all your bodily fluids. that's the labs. So your urine, saliva, blood. So, and the third room is mostly in the basement, that's where you do the imaging. And then the fourth room, that room only opens when the 3 other rooms have put the data on a map, and that's the doctor. So when he comes out and then he looks at the map and as an epiphany, he pronounces something, and then you either go home or you stay there, or you go to the therapeutic part. Now, the problem is with the diagnostic part of the hospital, that's a loss. That's a big loss for hospital, especially the ER. So it is not only inaffordable, it is by the infrastructure and the demographics, but also no longer feasible to do that in hospitals. So you have to send, that's the Affordable Care Act that also is giving an economic incentive to do people more at home, and the people are very willing to do that. So that's actually the challenge of that tricorder, to put imaging, to put in vitro diagnostics, point of care, all into a smartphone. And then, not only will we have 300 million people in the world who are privileged to have a one-to-one relationship with their doctor, but 8 billion people who have a relationship and access to healthcare via their mobile device. I think that's the historic tipping point that we are.
I think that Professor Wang's question is very important. Why this is a very the technology been developed for many years, several decades already. The timing is correct right now because from our perspective, our team's perspective, just want to second what did they say. There's 8 billion people don't really have any affordable health care around the world. And in Taiwan, we actually see this question very, the contact question very clearly, because in Taiwan we have universal health care. So everyone is covered with health care. The health care quality is very good. So medical doctor there, because I actually from Harvard Medical School, I spent 2 years in Taiwan to set up a new college there. And this is a project for the new college. And the quality of the health care is not enough. It's very compatible to the U.S. health care. Across the very narrow ocean strip is mainland China. There's a 800 million population in mainland China. It's in the rural area who don't have any access to any health care. So for them to make a hospital appointment would take a few days. So they have to take 1 day trip and then get the appointment will probably take 1 day. Then they wait in the line from midnight to until 8 o'clock when the hospital open. So those are the people we are talking about advice to, because they have no health care at all. So for those people, they have the urgency that need some assistance that can decentralize hospitals. So you don't really need to go to the hospital to take care probably 80% of the problem. And those can be done at a village, on a tiny clinic, or someone who have very minimal medical training carry a system with them and go to different family, like a family doctor, but not the real doctor. So that's what we can see from across the ocean. In Taiwan, since there's a universal health care, the problem is we cannot afford it because it's too expensive. Because the model is built on the Western model, US model. The major hospital cost is really high. So the skyrocketing healthcare costs make the government a very heavy financial burden. So they need to cut down the cost. So on both sides, we all have this need to lower the cost, to make the healthcare affordable, accessible to as many people as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So, Basil Harris from final frontier medical devices. So I love all of the above. I think eventually it's going to be too expensive not to do something like this. This device, and thanks to, again, to the Xprize Foundation, they dreamed up a good one because it's not just the vital signs and getting the data, it's achieving these diagnoses that they set out. If you've all had a chance to look at what the parameters are that they're looking for, it's a daunting task to come up with a device that's in the hands of the user to come up with a diagnosis of a hemorrhagic stroke or active pulmonary TB or something as simple as a UTI. And they've crossed all boundaries to try and come up with a unified device for that. And I would add one more room in the hospital that's important. It's the operating room. And, this device is not going to take your appendix out, but it's something that you get information in the hands of the user that's going to help them make and actionable decisions, whether they're in a smart house, which we all want to take care of us, or in the village that's in a rural village. I mean, this is what we want to do with this device. And I think everyone on the panel here and at Xprize, we want to tear up the way things are done now and put the consumer in the driver's seat to take the command of their health and give them the tools to be able to do that.
Great, wonderful, thanks. We'll 1 through 4, please go ahead.
So as I recall, Bones used to hold up his cell phone, and 2 little things would come out. Presumably there was some sort of RF interrogation of the patient. And then later on, I think they switched to optical methods because the other things didn't come out anymore. They just
Right, so the Bones would take the device apart and would scan you. And so it was either some sort of ultrasound device or but the difference between this, which is technically the first iteration of the tricorder, and what the future tricorder is in the Star Trek world, is this one, Bones was still interpreting that data and making the diagnosis. This is even going a step further, and it's taking the physician out of the equation and doing it autonomously. It's much more challenging. So in the future Starfleet, they're going to scale it back a little.
Sure.
Any other comment?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the one other thing I wanted to say is it's a non-contact sensor technique.
Sure.
And I'm wondering if there are points for this competition given to that part of, how a tricorder works.
Anyone want to answer that challenge? Question?
Sure, yes, it's a non-invasive diagnostic device. The Xprize Foundation didn't set up exactly how you need to do it. They left it wide open. So there's going to be, there's 6 teams up here. There's another 4 that couldn't make it today, but you're going to have 10 completely different methods for coming about this solution that fit into those parameters. So it's all non-invasive.
I suppose I know exactly where you're coming from, and is there some potential there for true remote monitoring, and certainly temperature, and there are others that possibly exist. But I think wearables is actually something you can wear that will continuously be monitorable over a 2 or 3 week period. That's a big breakthrough. That if it's done in such a way that you can shower, you can still continue with normal activity and artifact and everything's taken care of. That replaces the idea of maybe of something that's remote. But you have your bedroom where you're lying at night and sleeping. Yes, there's some remote technology that's definitely occurring. There's possibilities for sleep apnea, for temperature monitoring in that space. But with this, there's enough challenges with having true movement off the body.
Anyone make that comment? Please.
Holly Johnson from Northeastern University in Boston. First, I just want to say it's such a great idea to have an Xprize like this, and I love the grand challenge. I have 2 questions, one for the contestants and one for the funders. First of all, from the contestants' point of view, quite often as engineers, we design things that where it ends up the technology is the simple part, and changing the workflow or the way it's used or having anybody even care about the information is a real challenge. And many systems have failed, not because the technology didn't work, but because nobody was ready to integrate it into their workflow, either from the clinical perspective or even the patient in the home. So my question to contestants has to do with, have you incorporated needs assessment and participatory design in your systems? And from the funder's point of view, what is success? For example, we're spending most of our money on aging and care for the elderly, and technologies that have to be very, very simple. So an interface that works well might not look very flashy and high-tech, or the process might be important. Are you judging on a successful business model, a successful technology alone, satisfying the 15 diagnoses? Are they going to be important diagnoses or maybe not so important? Or is it the impact you expected to have? I'm just very curious about, because you want to set your objectives so that you will really facilitate as many of these companies being successful as possible.
Oh, it's a very good question. Anyone want to answer? Take the question. So, let me comment a little bit on the actual structure so that it's kind of give you a better idea of what it is we're setting out to do. So when you consider the fact that this is not a clinical trial, so when all the teams actually deliver to us, us being University of California San Diego Medical Center, which is our partner in this, so next April when 30 devices per team are actually delivered to UCSD, those devices will actually be put into the hands of consumer testers. So each device will actually be tested in 3 separate individuals, and you can imagine that's like running 15 clinical trials concurrently over about 480 patients. So the idea here in terms of what is the expectation of the outcome of this particular Xprize is the demonstration of the utility of these technologies to actually do what we set out to do, which is, can they successfully identify the 15 conditions that we've set out, and can they continuously monitor by vital signs over a 72-hour period? And another component to this is, can the data collected through these individual testing cycles be transmitted to the cloud? So this is really a demonstration of technology and the feasibility of this technology to actually work and to deliver valid results. So at the end, when we actually will declare 3 winners, it's a validation that judges have reviewed this data and have concluded that these technologies have succeeded across this spectrum of results. And so that within itself is going to be a really kind of solid foundation for being able to move forward. Now, will these devices actually be the final product that is ultimately commercialized? That's really up to the teams. But this is intended to also be a feasibility study for the technology. And the other side of this that you mentioned is the consumer experience. So how will people interact with and respond to the technology? So up to 45% of the voting criteria is on the consumer experience. So that's another big component of not only will the technologies have to work, what is the experience that the consumer has for interacting with it? And we'll be collecting that data as part of the validation and the assessment all throughout next year. So that's 2 big components to what the challenge is for these teams. And it is an audacious objective. And so they have a lot of work to do over the next 6 months.
Any panelists want to ask some other questions?
I have the mic here. I can launch for a grant. We, all our team have been really judged very rigorously on the user experience part. So in our proposal, we spend a lot significant emphasis on the user experience part, because as technology becomes more widely used, the level of their technological expertise becomes very, very low. And from our team's perspective, is actually we have another different approach is not just the user has to be able to use it very easily, very comfortably. And then the other approach is because we are targeting a market that doesn't have any health care system available. So for example, in the cell phone technology, the cell phone technology was actually first marketed successfully in Asia and Africa. It's not, in the US it's very slow. So in the US it takes them probably 10 years later to adapt the cell phone technology. But in Asia, a lot of countries, especially China, people start using cell phone much earlier than in the US. I think in the US the medical establishment will try to provide a lot of barrier to this kind of technology because it's a really conflict with their business model. But in the place that they don't have any health care, it's like the reverse innovation. So they go to a place that don't have anything, so they can actually leapfrog those places that really have infrastructure. So that's our approach. So we make it very easy to use, very robust, and then go to the place that people need this healthcare that they cannot get it from any other source. And so that's my comment.
Be very quick. Two very good questions. I think the integration into the workflow is a very important challenge, and I think why we haven't seen too many mobile type devices by clinicians, and we were very honest about it. I don't think clinicians necessarily find what's on the market at the minute particularly useful. It's not going to change anything, it's not going to help. So the systems that would be produced here would have to have nearly extreme levels of sensitivity and specificity. And what I mean by that is very low false positives and very low false negatives, in the sense that it has to be really robust technology. Once that happens, then this is the early warning system. This is the system that has productivity in it, the system that looks at deterioration of health. That will then come to the next warning is see your doctor immediately. That saves money, that makes it easy for the doctor to get in earlier. And therefore you see the big change coming. And so I think it's the robustness of that system. The usability is right. It's actually usability comes in many different guises. I mean, I think the traffic light approach to this, in the sense that it's red, green, or amber, is probably the level that it needs to be at. Okay, so that again needs the use of computational power to really help that. But it's everything else. It's how you change the batteries. It's how you, how long you can actually wear patches for, and without giving any skin irritation. That's where the usability and the reuse of such things will become very important to be able to market and keep it sustained. So they're two very important questions, but just back to the very first point that was asked, it's, I think the time now is there. Cloud analytics and much better computational power in the likes of mobile phone. I think the timing's right for this too.
So we put around 10-15 minutes left. Can you reply if you like to be fair to other questions?
Sure. I'll be really quick. I couldn't agree more. I mean, the onus is on us as the developers of this technology to prove the robustness of these devices, of the techniques. These novel techniques are not going to be easily adopted into the medical mainstream. But once we're able to do that, and it's adopted by the public, because people want to know this information. They deserve to have that power to be able to have the information to make decisions about their health. As a clinician, I get people come in to me with little notes scribbled with their blood pressures and their AccuCheck readings of their glucose and things that they bring off the internet. I want whatever winners come out of this, a device that is trusted by the medical community, something that is going to be, I'm not going to say, oh, I don't trust that information. At the stage, no disrespect to Fitbit or whoever makes that, but if someone comes and says, my Fitbit tells me I'm not sleeping right, I don't know what to do with that information in the emergency department. But if someone comes in and says, oh, my scanning device told me I might have TB, You know, I want to think, oh, that's that Xprize team that came up with that. I trust that information because they've published papers on it. They've had clinical results. And these are things we've got to go through those hurdles to make this a real reality.